We know that movement is a natural condition for the human being. It is so natural that even before we are born, being in our mother's wombs as fetuses, we start to move. And yet from that very same stage of life we have the only essential tool to be able to dance, our body. Now, in order to be able to channel the need for movement that we all have towards dance specifically, certain processes are needed. Curiosity and imagination are quite important because they will help us experiment with our body and take it to the limits of its capacities, so that we can learn how it works and what we can do with this tool given to us by nature. We also need auditory stimulation, given that the pulse of music allows us to identify patterns and rhythms that we will later attempt to represent with our bodies, and the visual stimulation when we see other people dancing, which will motivate us to feel like doing the same things they do. Nowadays we have plenty of activities that will help us feel our needs of expressing, having fun and maintaining or improving our physical shape that are different from dance. But in times of the appearance of the human being on the planet, this diversity didn't exist. The first human beings before the rise of languages and writing had already learned to communicate through non-verbal forms like paint and sculpture that sought to represent what their eyes saw, percussion and music by the production of sounds with the materials they found in their environment, singing imitating the sounds of nature and animals, and of course through dance and gestures, which helped them exteriorize their emotions, to express themselves, relate with one another and coexist, which resulted into the rise of societies or civilizations. In other words, art was the element that provoked the rise of civilizations. Since then, different societies and cultures have had dance as an important part of their identity, and throughout history, thanks to the human evolution, society's evolution, and the advance in knowledge, human beings have turned to dance for different reasons and with different goals, which has turned it into an activity that's adaptable to the times, needs, and interests of people. In many times, different societies have inclined for dance for diverse reasons. Depending on the cause for which people head towards dance, we may classify it in various types. If you are interested in knowing or have ever wondered which types of dance exist, or you are considering taking some dance classes and you want to have more information that helps you decide better what type of dance you would practice, or you simply need a little motivation to start, this video is for you. Dance is an activity that's there and anyone can go to it. Each person inclines for dance looking for an objective. Depending on what each person wants to achieve through dance and the purpose to dance, we may classify all the dances in three large groups: folkloric or traditional dances, leisure dances, and academic dances. Folkloric dances are local on a region, country, or demonym, and are the eldest type of dances of humanity. Most of them have invariable steps or relatively little innovation. Other than that, we can also watch that they are cyclical, since they are repeated every certain time period. In this group we can find mostly festive-natured dances, and these may have two main motives. First, we have a ritual or religious dance that's practiced with the intention of establishing or maintaining a spiritual connection among the people who practice it and the deity or deities these people believe in, and it's generally practiced in groups. People generally practice it with the goal of asking or thanking a deity for a favor, or celebrating or commemorating an event related to the myth behind this deity. For example, the dancing devils in Yare in Venezuela, the Little Blacks dance in Chincha in Peru, Maple dance in England, Cham dance in China, among others. Second, we have social dance. That's practiced in groups, but in opposition to religious dance, this one doesn't have ritualistic connotations, for its purpose is based on gathering people so that they interact with each other, and it is practiced in political or social related events and the civilization where it appears. One example of this would be the clubbing nights with friends, wedding or birthday parties, and etc., or the national or regional days in a country or region. Some examples of this type of dance would be the Vira in Portugal, the Highland Gaelic in Scotland, the Bhangra in India and Pakistan, among others. As many of these dances develop organically in big social groups gatherings, many of them emerge at the same time of the music that accompanies them, such as Joropo in Venezuela, merengue in the Caribbean, tango in Argentina, and ballroom dances in Europe. Leisure dances are those that people practice to entertain themselves. This one offers more liberties because it may be practiced by oneself, in pairs or in groups. The interested person may choose the frequency with which they are going to practice it, and, in general terms, there aren't major requirements concerning dressing code, space, and etc. Generally, the people who practice this type of dance don't do that with the intention of making it a full-time or professional activity. We could say that social dances are also leisure dances, but in this case the difference lies in the fact that social dances are called and performed around a specific social event, while leisure dance may be practiced at any moment. In that sense, as the same person decides the frequency, duration, and goal to be achieved by the practice of this dance, we could include the sportive dance in this group. First, we have sportive dance. That's practiced in order to obtain an aesthetic or health benefit from it. It is generally practiced in groups, and even though it is not a social dance, it may share many of its benefits. This type of dance combines many disciplines to create a more complete exercise routine. Although most people doesn't choose this type of dance with the only purpose of having fun, but they expect to obtain some change in their bodies as a result of their practicing it, it is also true that many people go for this type of activity because it is more amusing and it has a wider variety of movements than certain sports or working out with machines, which is based on the repetition of movements in series. Constant and frequent practice is required for a determined quantity of time that will depend on the frequency of practice and the body conditions of the participant at the beginning of the training to be able to see the results. As examples, we may mention dance therapy, Thai box, aerobics, among others. Second, we have recreational dance. That's practiced with the one and only intention to be amused. It may perfectly be practiced by oneself. Therefore, company is optional and dispensable. This one offers the most liberties regarding company, frequency, and space, but its benefits are fewer. Even with only turning on the radio in your living room and dance to the music that sounds, you are already participating of this type of dance. Third, we have therapeutic dance. That's practiced basically as a part of a physical or psychological therapy. It is very similar to the sportive or recreational dance, but in opposition to those two, people turn to this type of dance usually by the advice of somebody. Normally, people practice sportive or recreational dance voluntarily, but in the case of therapeutic dance, what happens is that this one functions as a way of channeling or improving some problem. So, the person is usually introduced to it by the advice of a therapist. As examples of this type of dance, we may mention biodance, body psychotherapy, among others. Academic dance refers to dance as an object of studies. People who practice this type of dance must submit to a specific regime of education, training, and rehearsal that allows them to create and maintain an agile and versatile body capable of understanding and executing movements that are not common on other groups of dances. Depending on the training and studies level and the technique knowledge level being managed, the person may be a beginner or amateur, or may be a professional. First, we have stage or artistic dance. That's practiced with the goal of presenting a play as an art craft, something that the audience will see and enjoy. In order to participate in a stage or artistic type of dance, the person may be a professional formed to that kind of work, but that's not compulsory. And as an example of this, we could mention the students in a school who sometimes plan dances to present to an audience in special dates without having necessarily professional studies. Although it is possible to use improvisation on stage, this dance requires a lot of preparation because it requires specific elements like costumes, illumination, scenery, and etc. Many dances that used to be folkloric, religious, or social dances in other times have been adapted to be able to be taken to stage or to be recorded for movies and television. For example, breakdance, flamenco, tango, and others. Specific examples of this type of dance would be jazz dance, classical ballet, contemporary dance, Butoh dance, and others. Second, we have professional dance, that's practiced as a work activity. This type of dance is closely related to the artistic one, but the difference is that in this case we talk about people who decide to make dance their career and profession, and consequently dedicate their work and lives to it. As in every professional activity, dancers should earn money for their services. It's not always like that though. People exercising this profession must train in different dance techniques that will later show in public. It is handled in three phases. First, the learning and training phase, when the people are exposed to a training system that will teach them moving methods. The creation phase, when people plan a dance play and create it through a teaching-learning process and the repetition of rehearsals. And the show phase, consisting, as in the artistic dance, on presenting the resultant dance plays to the audience. Dancing offers many benefits to people. It doesn't matter the type of dance you practice. Some benefits are specific of one type of dance, but most of them are general. Social dances are more oriented to the creation, maintenance, and reinforcement of tribal and interpersonal links, the development of a social identity, and the consolidation of our religious faith. Leisure dances are more oriented to the management of stress or other body and psychological ailments and the increasing of self-esteem and self-confidence. Artistic dance has more to do with individual expression, the contact with other cultures, and the improvement of physical conditions. However, it is possible to find a little bit of all the benefits in each type of dance. Dancing is something completely natural for the human being. Our body is designed to be dynamic and move. It's because of that human beings have always been connected to dance and have looked for ways to keep and empower it in diverse moments of history. So, if you feel like dancing, don't stop. It's never too late and there are no limits. I hope you liked this video, and I also hope it has given you enough information to help you differentiate the types of dances or know better which type of dance you wish to practice. If it has, I invite you to like the video, comment in the box below, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. And you and I will see each other in another video.